Your players are Shaun Storry on the left of the screen, Chris Melling on the right. Your referee is Viv Rusco. The scene is set for this first round match. Chris Melling gets it underway in frame number 1. And he goes dry. You may remember Shaun Storry from event 4 last year. Was it event 4 when he got to the final? Maybe event 3, actually. Did he get to event 3 and lost to Phil? My brain's gone to mush today, I tell you. It was either event 3 or event 4. But anyway, he got to the final. So, a very adept player. Chris Melling needs very little introduction. You'll know Chris. And certainly what Chris is capable of. So while we were doing that interview and setting up this game, of course, all the other games were concluding. So we know that Jordan Shepherd will play the winner of Cian Monaghan and Amin Bounif. Amin is 6-3 up. Greg Batten will play Callum Singleton. Scott Muscat will play Clint Ianson. Lydon de Bono will play Phil Harrison. Ben Flatwood will play Jimmy Croxton. Mark Boyle, who beat Jake McCartney, will play Dom Cooney. Darren McVicker will play Jack Whelan. Sean Chipperfield would play Dave Fernandez. And Josh Kane will play Oli Bell. Those games will be winners round 2, which will be tomorrow at 12:30. For now, we have the bottom half of winners round 1, in which Richard Gifford is 8-6 up against Ben Tanner. Neil Raybone 5-2 against Scott Crawley. Steve Petty 9-3 against Johan Attard. Barry Lynn and Stefan Rossidi 5 each. Liam Dunster just about to get underway against John McAllister on table 11. In fact, I think they just started. Craig Lakin's 9-4 up against Carl Boys. Shane Thompson 3-1 up against Greg Dixon. Jamie Burnett 6-1 against Carl O'Donoghue. I knew that was going to be a tough ride for Carl. Craig Marsh 6-4 against Sam Bircher. John Rowe 4-1 up against Jason Ellis. And Chris Day 4-2 against Jez Graham. And it gives me great pleasure to say good evening and welcome to Dave Fernandez, who joins me on commentary. How are you, Dave?
I'm very well, thank you. Nice to see you. It's been a while.
It has been a while.
It has been, yes. This should be a very entertaining game, shouldn't it? It always involves Melling.
Yes, yeah, for sure. I mean, people will obviously recognise Chris more than they recognise Shaun, but Shaun did make a final of one of these events last year. So,
and he won one of the other amateurs before it became the
Supreme,
didn't he? So he's got a good record here.
He does, yeah.
Seems to perform.
Yeah, and he's a very good and also very measured player. He's very thoughtful. I think he likes his meditation. He's very, very good at keeping himself calm and composed.
He's very strict in his life of diets and things like that. Yeah. So he's very, very thoughtful person, like you say. He doesn't lose his rag at all. No. He's kind of trained himself through meditation to be able to get himself into a calm place, and I think he spends quite a bit of time preparing for these games mentally, just to try and get himself in the right kind of place. I think so. I think that's the right thing to do, especially in events like this. I mean, so many good players in there, and it's you got to expect people to run 3, 4, 5 frames off against you without you actually doing a lot wrong. Yeah. So if you're not good mentally, then you're going to struggle, I think, because sometimes you don't have to do anything wrong to lose.
But like I say, he tries different things all the time. I mean, obviously he's wearing a glove now as well because he said he's finding it a bit sticky with his hands. So he's always willing to give something a go to see if it does give him that extra 1% or 2%, which at this level it could make or break an event.
Yep. And you've had a good start to the event as well, beating Lee Clough 11-9. I mean,
tough game.
He's a tough opponent.
He's a class act.
You've literally got to peel him off the table.
Yeah, you kind of have to earn every frame. He doesn't lose frames. You have to win every frame, and he's a bit like Shaun. He's very methodical. He takes his time. He pans out his finish, and he's a class act. And luckily enough, just about got over the line, which was nice. It was a bit of a scrappy game, really. Early doors, we both kept breaking dry, and then I went for a spell of a lot of dry breaks, and he pulled it back, and it would just toe to toe near the end, and it just pulled through when it mattered. So that was handy.
Yeah, nice to open your account. I mean, it's like I say, I mean, there's not many times you're going to look at the draw and think, yeah, I fancy that one. I mean, Lee's a tough opponent, and I'm sure both of you would have looked at that draw and sort of inwardly groaned slightly, but you know you're not going to get an easy run at some point.
That's true. I mean, you see like the game that was just on with Tom Cousins and Phil Harrison. It's
ridiculous. Look at this man.
This is going mad again. He plays them so well, doesn't he?
Yeah. Little pat on the knee from Shaun as well.
It's not like you could say, really. It's just
No.
like, okay, fair play, mate. Should be interesting. It's still a tricky finish from here, though. There's not really a lot you can do here. Two developing balls, and black's not ideal unless you're going to try and come off the back row and hit the black into the yellow. Free them both in the same shot.
Yeah.
Possibly. So, but again, if anyone can make up an angle, it is this guy.
Not quite as planned, but
Could go into it again.
yeah.
I think these rules make it open like that because there is no value really in covering a pocket because they can just play their ball onto your ball and it's just loss of turn. So
Try it again.
yeah, so it's okay this time.
Yeah.
I think screw this back a couple of inches possibly and then leave an angle off that yellow to disturb the other one. All of a sudden, the chance, which looked very, very difficult, is now possibly 50-50 for him.
Yeah, you almost fancy him for this, don't you?
Yeah, he just needs to get the right angle here. I mean, if you're just dropping this in, it would be an easy pot, but playing it at pace, I still don't know if he's got the angle though. So
tiny bit straight in the He certainly possesses the Q power. If there is any kind of angle, he possesses the Q power to manufacture it. But
he's going to absolutely pump this with
Yeah.
so much top and hope it just kicks in afterwards. And
he needs luck now because as Dave said, he's going to have to power this in. And if he does kick it out, he needs to land on it. So
it's going to be tough. He's got. If he hits the red, it's going to be very hard to actually leave a shot on the yellow if he hits the red. He needs to hit his yellow, really. Half ball or quarter ball. Hitting the red full in the face, I don't think is going to help. But we shall see. We can't really see what angle he's got, can we? So we're not.
maybe he's just got a tiny angle. He can punch it across.
He's hit the yellow, which was a great shot.
Yeah. Just got the wrong angle, hasn't he? He's looking to see where the gap is, just to.
It's going to be a thin cut on the yellow though to judge it. This table looks like it's playing so quickly as well.
It is lightning fast, yeah. So he's found the gap.
Yep. So he just wants to make sure he doesn't catch this too thick and go straight into the corner pocket. I don't know if he can get a lot of Q action on it because it's so thin. This is it. He's going to have to catch it very thin here.
Yeah, he's just looking now at.
These are the ones if you just catch it a bit thick, it makes you look like an idiot, doesn't it? You just go straight and off.
And he knows he's going to be close because he was looking at using the knuckle.
As long as caught it very thin.
Well controlled. And Chris Melling 2-0.
I think that's going to hurt that one. I think Shaun fancied a shot at least. I'm not saying he'd fancied winning the frame, but he'd have fancied coming back to the table there.
So just talking about Chris, I mean, he obviously played. I think he played all of the events last year. I might be mistaken and missed one, but I think he played all of them. and obviously has been there for the first 2 events. And I guess when you look at the way the bookmaker prices it, and if you look at the kind of money he makes in the various Calcuttas he's sold in, people expect Chris automatically to go a lot deeper than he probably has. He hasn't really had a great showing in the event so far, and I wonder if I always wonder with Chris, he's such a great natural player, and he can beat anybody. I mean, we all know he can absolutely beat anybody, but just whether he lacks that tiny bit of consistency, because he does spread himself quite thin.
I think he leaves himself open to. I mean, when he's on fire and he's flying, he's phenomenal. Really, I mean, no one can really keep up with him. So when you play that sort of way, if you're not at your best, you are going to miss that odd ball or play that one bad positional shot. That could literally, in this field, be the make or break of anything. I mean, we see Liam Dunster, for argument's sake, he's so solid, he's so composed. You very rarely see him taking on masses and jacking his cue up in the air, which, I mean, you don't know if it's the right or wrong shot until after it's been played, do you really? Because Chris just played one just now in that frame and played it absolutely perfect. So
I don't think it's any coincidence that the amount of kind of these inventive shots that we see replayed on social media very often involve Chris, but it's really because he's got himself in that situation the first time, whereas someone like Phil Harrison, you don't see him play those really inventive shots because he's got the cue ball on a string.
You're spot on. That's exactly right. Exactly right. It's the 3 shots leading up to it where he's played 2 doubles and a cut, which has led to him having to play a masse.
Exactly.
Whereas, like you say, if Phil Harrison or Liam Dunster or anyone like that feels like they're in trouble or the frame's not going their way, they're happy to sit back and just nudge a ball out or cover a bag and say to their opponent, well, go on then, I don't fancy these.
Yeah.
Whereas Chris fancies them every time, doesn't he?
And it's not like this isn't trying to be disrespectful to Chris in any way. I mean, I'm just saying that I just wonder sometimes that, because he's playing in this event against people who literally play day to day. They play 8-ball. They're just on this table all the time. Whereas one day Chris is, he's probably not practicing much in between events because he's travelling so much. He's in China. He's playing the Chinese. He's playing 9-ball the following week. He's partnering Jason Shaw in something. He's flying to America, and he doesn't get the time on the table. And he's playing people who are just plying this as their trade day in day out.
Yeah,
and in a way, we've just seen it. We've just seen that kind of inconsistency with Oli Bell. I mean, Oli. He's just done nothing in any of the events that he's played in so far.
Yeah.
And he hasn't had any kind of showing, and he's just gone on and blown away Scott Gillespie.
Exactly.
And it just shows that, like when Oli's another one of these flair players that on his day, he can just blow away anyone.
You'll find that is the difference, that little bit of consistency, whereas if you're playing all the time or you're consistently performing at the high level, you'll have 5 or 6 very good games to your 1 bad match, whereas when you're not playing and you're not that consistent, you'll therefore have 1 good game and then 2 bad games, sort of thing. But again, here he's got another shot he has to pull out. He's looking like he's trying to lay on the red behind the he's coming off the side rail with a lot of top here and trying to come up the back of the red. And if he kisses the red, he's guaranteed a shot on the yellow in the middle. So, he's not got the right line, and he's not going to be happy with that one. And this is what we was talking about earlier, about having to pull himself out of the equation. So we shall see what he's got lined up here. And he's absolutely played a monster again. I don't know if he's on it. I don't know if we can get a camera view of that. He's not on it, no. Shaun doesn't know whether to laugh or cry at this moment in time. He keeps thinking he's getting back to the table and he's not. So we shall see. Fantastic shot. Judge the angle well. got another one here. I don't know if he's going to try and come. He's going to come off the bottom rail, definitely. I don't know if he's going to just try and snip it into the middle. He's got to be careful of the in-off with the white. That could be very close. But this is a 1 in 30, possibly. And he's not got it. And now Shaun has to take his opportunity. He's got an easy starter, and Chris missing the black did not put the black safe, which was a bonus as well. That could have easily have gone onto the side rail. So he's only really got one red to worry about. That's the one on the screen now to the right-hand side of the cushion. He should be okay, really. It's not on the rail, and if he plays it at a nice pace, and he couldn't be any better on it now. So I think he'll take it now for a bit of luck. Needs to settle him down, just get this frame one. You don't want Chris going 2, 3, 4 frames up ahead of you. He's cued that well, so that will settle him down a little bit. And now he just needs to just pick his route now, really. Just screw back 2 inches. Nothing special, nothing amazing, just the basics. Just make sure you don't land straight on this red. So you've got a choice here. He can either screw back 4 or 5 inches, or centimetres, should I say, not inches. As long as he's got an angle now, just to drift up the table and off the top rail, he'll be fine. There we are. Ideally, wanted to be a bit closer to it, but he's straight enough and should be 2-1. And in it goes, and that will settle him down a little bit now, hopefully. He did look a bit shaky there, but Chris has been firing all sorts of bullets at him so early doors, so Shaun will be happy at 2-1 now, and he's took his chance.
Shaun Storry to break, trading 2 frames to 1.
So Shaun looks like he'll be taking yellows here. A nice little starter. And they're all there. He's got a couple of balls down this bottom rail here, which just a little awkward plant, but if he lands on it well, it should be pretty straightforward, really. He just needs to make sure he just gets down to the bottom rail enough. And he's played a lovely shot there. He's got the perfect angle now just to top this down, and he's got a choice whether to take the one near the pink spot first or come further down and take the one near the rail. He's got a few balls to play with here, so. Ideally for the plant, it'd like to be nearer to the bottom rail so we can just drop it in, and then there's no issues of the second ball going safe or anything. So he's opted to take the one near the pink spot first. Again, now he just needs to, he's got to screw back a couple of inches and just make sure he leaves a right angle, really. He doesn't want to overscrew it and snooker himself behind the red or running behind the red. But like I say, the plant's just a little bit tricky. Only if he doesn't land on it correctly. If he lands, he wants to be ideally where the yellow is. So if he can land straight enough and then just bounce him off the rail. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Just needs to just be careful of the pace here, and then I don't think you should be playing the plant with the last two balls on the table, to be honest. I'd have left the one there as a saver, just because it is a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
Again,
easy for that top yellow to go straight, and it just.
Yeah, I think I'd have left that yellow by the pink spot. And this one's just going to be a little bit tricky here. Because he's going to have to hit this hard, which therefore means now he's going to lose the white a little bit. The other yellow's going to go to the side rail. So he's just got to be a bit careful here. I think this is why I probably would have left the yellow by the pink spot, because then he could have just dropped this plant in, had the yellow by the pink spot, which went to the top left or in the middle off the red, so he had options, and then he could have just stunned over for the other yellow, which would have drifted to the side rail. I hope that makes sense. So we'll see here, he's going to have to play this. And it's okay, I think. You have to trust his cue action here.
Sorry about that, Dave. The bookmaker Adam Penwell just popped in for a quick chat, because we just mentioned earlier how he's running a book on the event as Jed's not here this weekend. So Adam was offering odds, and everyone should message Adam if they want to get a price on the outrights.
He's had a lot of interest at the club, hasn't he?
Yeah,
so
the lads have been all over him. So.
Yeah. He's made a few quid as well, I think.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, you guys need to take a few quid off of him, to be fair.
Yeah, he's given out pretty generous prices, though, so
yeah.
It's not too bad. That was a fantastic shot from Shaun, that last yellow down
really
the rail.
good.
He's played it with a load of drag, a bit of side, and cued it like a dream. And all of a sudden he looks a lot more settled and game on.
2 frames each. Referee Viv Rusko racking up the balls for frame number 5. I mean, Bunuf is now 8 frames to 4 up against Cian Monaghan. Neil Raybone 8-3 against Scott Crawley. Steve Petty 11-3 through against Johan Attard. Barry Lynn 7-6 up against Stefan Rossidi. Stefan, a tough opponent.
Yeah, there's a lot of tough games there, isn't there?
Yeah.
So,
and Barry's fellow countryman Liam Dunster is 2-0 against John McAllister. Craig Lakin has beaten Carl Boys 11 frames to 6.
well, Craig is such a great player, isn't he?
I was going to say that won't shock too many people.
No, I don't think so. I think possibly is he a better player than Carl Boys? Probably at 8 ball, yes. I mean, he plays every day, like you say. He plays money matches. He plays in competitions, big competitions. He does well in all of them, really. It's very rare you see him get beat early doors. He's always at the business end.
And your fellow England player, Shane Thompson, 4-2 up against Greg Dixon.
Yeah, he just had a good win against Rob Warren as well, didn't he, Shane?
Yeah.
It was a crawling match, but it's come through. Shane's playing very well at the moment as well.
He's been putting out a lot of hours. I know he's been planning a couple money matches. He's got one organised. In fact, I think he's got a couple organised now. So he's been putting in the long hours on the practice table, and that hopefully will pay dividends for him this weekend. Carl O'Donoghue beat Gareth Hibbett in his first round match is 7-2 down now against Jamie Burnett.
Jamie Burnett. I've not really seen him play much, Paul, obviously.
Yeah,
So.
he had some good results in event 1. I can't remember. He took a couple of decent scalps. We saw him on this mainstream table. We had him in the interview room at one point. I can't remember who he beat now. I'd have to look back through the results. But yeah, good. I mean, he's just showing there what he's capable of. And Carl O'Donoghue, in his interview after his win earlier, was saying that he just wants to find some consistency because he's playing really well in one game and then really poorly in the next. So he's just showing it there, 7-2 behind. Craig Marsh is 8-6 up against Sam Bircher. John Rowe, who I believe, in fact, I know that he won his opening game 11-0.
Really? Wow.
Yep. So he won his opening game against Andrew Riley 11-0, and he's now 8-1 up against Jason Ellis.
Wow.
So he's dropped 1 frame in 20.
That's not too bad. Room for improvement.
Yeah. And to finish it off, Chris Day is 7-3 up against Jez Graham. Jez had a good win in the opening. In fact, I did mention to people earlier that Jez's opening game against Mason Penny. If you didn't get a chance or you didn't hear me earlier on, go to that game. It's on the Beard Productions YouTube channel. Fast forward it to 9 frames to 5. In fact, I can tell you it's exactly 1 hour 36 minutes. And watch the 2 shots, the 2 preceding shots that. The 2 subsequent shots that Jez plays. A couple of brilliant shots, ridiculous. Well worth a look. I'm sure somebody will be a lot better than I am and somehow do some kind of fancy recording on the phone. I've got to do all that nonsense.
It'll be out somewhere.
I'll do some screen recording and put it up on social media, I'm sure.
I'm sure, yeah, it'll make an appearance. Was it that?
Yeah.
I didn't see it myself either, so.
Yeah, really good. A couple of sick shots.
Yeah. And Shaun, as we were chatting about the other, he's overhit that by a mile.
In fact, he's overhit it so much that he's left himself the angle to come round the houses.
He's actually landed perfectly now.
Yeah.
Bit of top left-hand side here just to trace it round, keep it
Probably
away from
4
the yellow
cushions,
and the black.
1, 2, 3,
just
across to the 4th cushion.
and he's overrun it a little bit again, but I think he's
it's
perfect.
okay, yeah.
We had the wrong angle there. He was absolutely perfect, and all of a sudden now it's 3-2 to Shaun, and he looks very good. Chris has missed a couple of balls now, and Shaun hasn't missed a thing. So what a big turnaround from the opening 2 frames.
Yeah.
Again, it just shows the point we were making earlier, really, that it's.
Lack of consistency.
Yeah, I think that is the difference between the good and the very best, isn't it? It's doing it match in, match out. I mean, you have to have good stamina in these games as well anyway. I mean, you hear all day, diet will come into play, like Shaun says. He goes on his diets. He'll go on one diet and have just meat all day and nothing else. Then he'll do something else with fibre or just coffee, silly things, butter. Crazy, really, but he says it helps him, and so I mean, if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Who's impressed you so far? In
Well,
general?
I mean, Phil. Phil came away from that game saying, "Well, we both played rubbish, didn't we?" But I mean, he's just beaten Tom Cousins. He'd hardly say that he's played rubbish, but
No, well, yeah, that's true.
he played really well, and it was good to see. You see Craig Marsh there, 8-6 up. It was good to see him on the feature table earlier and kind of breeze through.
Yeah, he had a good win, didn't he, as well?
Yeah.
John Rowe 9-1 up now, so he's looks like he's going to go a bit with a smile on his face tonight.
Yeah.
He'll wish it carried on today, the way he's playing.
Flirting with the top corner bag with the cue ball, and he's gone dry, so good chance now for Chris.
Yeah, to get back to the table.
Yeah, he didn't want to. Doesn't want to drop a couple frames behind. He just wants to keep some level of parity, just to find his rhythm, which he hasn't really found yet.
No, he looked like he had the first couple of frames, but look, he's missing now.
There's another
he's
one.
Made a couple of errors.
Just looks a little out of sorts.
He does. But again, like you say, the consistency. The first 2 frames he was playing masses and it was coming out lovely. And the last frame he's missed the yellow to the bottom corner. This one he's missed one to the top corner. Ones that you expect him to get all day long, really.
And I often wonder what Chris's itinerary's been recently. I haven't followed. I normally keep an eye on his social media just to see where he is at any one point in time. But he's normally somewhere between the States and Asia. So I don't know where. I mean, when he played the last event, he played a match here.
Yeah.
Drove 3 hours to somewhere. I can't remember where, Barrow or something like that. I don't know where he went. I can't remember where he went now. Somewhere ridiculous. Did an exhibition, played all the locals, and then drove home, and then turned up here for a match at 9 o'clock in the morning. I think he said that he actually got in bed at about 3:30 in the morning, and then he was back in here for a match at like 9:30 or 10 o'clock. And I just think, as I say, you're just spreading yourself too thin.
Well, it gets to this. I think these top players, obviously, when they play in China and the Moscone Cup and things like that, the actual time, just the games they play and stuff don't go on till 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. So I think they used then as the night goes on, and once it gets to the 10s, 11 o'clock, I do think they feel it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, all those other players are used to being in competitions which drag on and it may go on till like midnight, 1 a.m. sometimes. Shaun definitely looks solid here, and at the moment looks like the better player. So
he's got a nice natural angle now, just to brush that red out of the way. Just a half ball glance, just like so. He's going to leave him perfect on the yellow to middle.
Be interesting what he decides here, because it might be better taking the one over the bag next after this one, because then he only needs to stun that last yellow for the black rather than having to play a positional shot. So we shall see.
Yeah, he's going to go. Well, he's got options, but you expect him to go top corner first.
Yeah, unless if he can screw this right back to the bottom bulk row, then it'd be ideal. But again, you don't want to be flirting with danger with all them reds there. So if you just drop this in and just flick off it, if you get anywhere to even the bulk line, I think he's happy with that. From what he's. See, this could be a bit tricky now. I know it looks easy over the bag, but sometimes these ones hanging over the bag are the ones that are very awkward to get position off.
Yeah.
If you just clip a knuckle.
Yeah, and it almost looks as though if he can't avoid just catching that knuckle as well. He's going to try and screw straight back. Then you need to judge the pace really well. And the line of the cue ball.
Wow.
He had a big margin for error there, but so close to in off.
Yeah, I mean, if you'd gone the other way, I think that took that out of the equation, didn't it?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But he's got away with it.
Sporting the glove. Not many players in the event use the glove. I think only 2 come to mind.
Yeah.
Would be Liam Dunster and Shaun. Of course, Shaun's got quite a background in 9-ball, I think, hasn't he?
Yes, he has,
played a lot of 9-ball in his time. So he would have probably got comfortable using the glove.
Yeah, he probably knows what's going on. It doesn't feel, I think if I stuck one on now, I'd feel more awkward than anything. It'd feel weird.
Especially when everyone starts pulling your leg about wearing a glove.
Oh, yeah.
There does seem to be some stigma attached. I mean, every single American wears one, don't they?
Yeah,
I mean, every single one. In fact, I think they almost have to, because I don't know, they just let the cue run. But
I think I'd get too much grief if I were one of them.
I know, that's what I mean. It's just like as soon as somebody seemed to be wearing a glove, all of a sudden the chat box is going eight grand. What's he doing? What's he wearing? Can't believe he's wearing a glove. And it's just like
it's not worth the hassle.
it's amazing the difference between two countries. Like I say, in the USA, is absolutely.
True, yeah. You're crazy
expected.
if you haven't got one.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
over here, you get absolute hammered if you've got one. So I'll give him grief about it earlier, to be honest. So it's quite funny. He was having a practice with it. What was that? What was that? But you got on there, sure.
Chris not happy about something.
He's absolutely clobbered them and has not
Timed it beautifully well, and as we've seen a few times, players timing the break really well, but not getting any luck.
And Shaun's got another opportunity here just to get a little bit of a gap. Yellows look nice. I don't know if the one on the left cushion drops in the middle. If not, I'm still think I'd be pretty happy with just dropping one in the middle and then just dropping it down the rail, to be honest. So, good opportunity here to open up a 3-frame lead. Not going to say it's a gimme, because it definitely isn't, but the way he's been playing and the way he's took out the last 4 frames, you wouldn't expect him to miss. But we all know Paul's a funny game.
Yeah. John Rowe now 10-1 up against Jason Ellis.
Again, he's played that lovely straight away, landed a perfect angle, so he can just stand up to the middle of around the blue spot would be ideal. And then I think he can take the yellow into the middle, drop the other one down the rail, the other one to the top right then, and it just opens up the whole frame for him. So he's just got to make sure now he doesn't overrun it. Just wants, if anything, land a bit shorter than the blue spot.
Craig Marsh now 10-6 up against Sam Bircher. That was a potential banana skin. Sam, really good young player. Fingers, I think they call him. And tough game there for Craig. And that one was nip and tuck for quite a while, but he stretched the lead to 10-6. And I don't know. I got an idea. Craig might go deep this weekend.
Is that your tip? We'll have to go and have a bet with Penners.
Yeah. I don't know. I can just see him having a little run. He's not really featured too much in the business end over these events. I think last year he seemed to be struggling to find a bit of form, and I just think he's found some recently. He seems to have had a couple of decent runs. I was just talking to him earlier in an interview, and he was saying that he's found a bit of passion for the game again. So much so that he's back on the practice table.
He had a good run in that event not too long ago, didn't he? I think the one that Liam Dunster won.
Yeah,
I think he got to the final, didn't he, Craig? Did he?
Of which one was that? The Murphy's one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. But yeah,
he had a fairly deep run in the World Championship again, if I remember, didn't he? Didn't he get to the semi or something?
Yeah, he's a great player. Like you say, it's a consistency of just doing it over and over. So it just look at Scott Gillespie this season. Over the last 2 years, really, he's been standout. Yeah. He won the European title, just gone now, and that was the only one missing out of his locker. He's now got that. So he's literally strove to win everything.
Blown everyone away in 2 years, hasn't he?
And now he's done it. He's now needs to find a new hunger of keep wanting to do it. It's a totally different ball game now.
It is. And I think that's pretty much where Craig was. He got to #1 on the IPA. He won the World Championship, and it was almost a case of, well, I've done that.
Yes.
So and now I just really need to turn up and I'll win some games. And
it's how you deal with that mentality that makes you. I mean, Mick Hill's a prime example. Everyone strives to be a world champion, don't they? Whether it's just once. He aimed for 5. He's got 5. But now, what's he going to do?
Yeah.
Do you aim for 6? It's a new hunger. You need to build back into yourself. When you've hit your targets, it's whether you're then happy or you want to kick on again. And again, that makes a difference between the best.
Yeah, I was trying to get to the bottom of it with Phil Harrison in the interview just before this game. That you know, he's just been there. He's just been Mr. Consistent for, you know, like 20 years. I mean, I just don't know how somebody keeps that kind of consistency with all the great new talent coming through.
Yeah.
No one intimidates him.
No,
No one ever,
no.
like, he's not looking at someone and thinking, wow, he's a great player. And I mean, he's just played Tom, and, you know, Tom, one of the informed players, one of the best players on the planet, and, you know, Phil's just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's
Whatever.
just me and the table, sort of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just one ball at a time. That's all I need to do. And I don't know how, you know, a couple of times I've tried to get into Phil's head and try and, you know, what's the one thing that people need to take away? What's the one thing that people need to drive on to? You know, what it can't just be practice. It can't just be raw talent. I mean, it's just I think it's just a mixture of mentality, of the practice regime, of, you know, the fact he's just Mr. Nice Guy and just pretty laid back about it all anyway.
I think he's the most liked player on the circuit. He's such a
doesn't
gentleman.
put any pressure on himself. No undue expectation. I said to him, like, "Oh, have you got in the draw?" And he said, "I don't know. I'm just, I just one shot at a time."
Yeah,
like,
it's the right way to. And he's so good, yet he still has that mentality, and that's the difference. I think there's other players that if they have a good win, they're like, "Oh, right, well, I've got him to play him, to play him, to play him." But it's like, well, no, you've got this game now in front of you. Concentrate on this. And
but you see these people who are kind of, I don't want to call them flash in the pan, because they're not. You know, they're still brilliant players. But, you know, how do you get that kind of consistency? I mean, Scott Gillespie seems to have found it, but is he going to be doing it still in 20 years' time like Phil Harrison is? Liam Dunster's done it. Is he going to be still doing it in 20 years like Phil Harrison is? I mean, they've got the ability to, but it's whether they've also got it between the ears, and they've also got that drive and ambition to keep waking up every morning and thinking, I'm going to practice for 2 hours today, and I'm going to drive up the 5-hour trek up the motorway to go and play another event.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
You know,
it's a strange one. I think I can't see Scott Gillespie not doing that. I mean, he's a bit older than Liam now, and Liam's quite young still, isn't he? So he's still got a lot ahead of him, which will be, I don't know, children, work, women, so forth. Whereas Scott's at that stage now where he's got misses, got kids. You know what I mean? He's
settled.
He's settled, and he's had that. So I think I can only see him just keep winning. Really, but another nice guy as well, which is very nice. Yeah. It's nice to see.
Yeah, the circuit's full of them, actually, isn't it? I mean, there's you know, there's some really good people around. They are. I mean,
there is. There's not. I mean, there's a few, but I think you get that in every sport, don't you? That are just spoilers, really. That just give the game a bad name. But on a whole, Chris definitely needs this frame. I think his head's going a little bit. He seems to be getting quicker and quicker, if that was even possible.
Yeah. This is one that shouldn't go wrong. I say it could, but it's.
I don't know what he's doing with his black.
I think he wouldn't. Was he trying to just get across another inch so he could just get up inside the red and try and move it slightly? But eggs in one basket, isn't it? Wow.
He's played that well. He's got a shot. It's still not easy though, is it?
Himself a shot. And actually, that could have been really nasty hampered queuing, but he's kind of finished in the pocket, which gave him.
He's got it.
A decent bit of queuing. And that's
he doesn't look like he wants to be there, does he?
No.
Looks like he's had enough already.
I don't know what it is. I've seen it so many times when watching Chris on this main arena table. Again, it's just about finding that hunger. Almost.
It's wanting to be there, isn't it? Rather than a chore.
I mean, far be it from me to kind of, you know, give someone, Chris Melling, any kind of criticism or any kind of guidance, but it almost feels like he had such a massive resurgence last year. I mean, everyone knew about the clearance that he did, and everyone was pretty disgusted when he didn't make it into the Moscone, because he had such a great year playing 9-ball. And you almost think to yourself, I mean, Darren, for probably the right reasons, he was back in the UK anyway. He had some issues that he wanted to sort out, and he wanted to try his hand at 8-ball again, and he felt a bit of passion to do it. But while he was here,
Yeah.
I mean, he said at the end of it, do you know what? I mean, I spoke to him afterwards, and he said, I didn't really feel at home playing 8-ball. I wanted to give it another go, but it just didn't feel right. I'm too immersed in 9-ball now, and that's where my heart is, and that's why he's gone back into 9-ball. And it's almost like, Chris, like just pick one. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, just go focus 100% on 9-ball, and then just go take the world apart and get back in the Mosconi Cup team instead of.
You could be capable of anything if you just
Yeah.
stuck to one. I think, like you say. I think that, like you say, sometimes it hinders his game, or people have that opinion that that's what's hindered his game a little bit. The fact that he'll play snooker, he'll play pool, he'll play 9-ball, he'll play Chinese, and he's very good at all of them.
Yeah.
But if he just picked one and just concentrated all his efforts on one, God knows how good the guy could be, or how much he could achieve. I mean, he's already achieved so much anyway. There's nothing against him, but
I mean, let's make no bones about it. I mean, the guy is one of the most talented human. I mean, he was the only player ever to hold a professional card in 8-ball, 9-ball, and snooker all at the same time. He's the only person to have ever done that.
It's a remarkable
and so that shows what he's capable of. But he did that when he was like, I don't know when it was, but I mean, it was in his late 20s or early 30s or whatever it might have been.
Yeah.
Not now, like, with the greatest respect, the years are going on, you get a little bit older, and and it gets to the point where, going back to your Phil Harrison, the Mr. Consistency, because that's all he's ever done. He's only played 8-ball.
Yeah,
he doesn't try and spread himself thin.
Back to basics sort of thing.
He had a little spurt on 9-ball at one point, and then said, "No, that's not for me. I just play 8-ball, and I'm going to be good at playing 8-ball rather than, And it almost feels like it's that point now where he's getting that little bit older, and he can't spread himself as thin anymore. And flying to 9 different destinations in a month.
It can't help.
It's going to take a toll.
It can't help, can it? It can only be a hindrance, can't it? I mean, he's got to do it, and he clearly loves it, and he makes money from it. But physically, it must take its toll on you, like you say. I mean, when you're getting home at 3 a.m. and then you're driving all the way to here to then play a match at 9 a.m., it's
I know.
You can't expect to be at your best, can you? But he does. He performs every event, doesn't he? But he probably doesn't achieve what he probably feels he should achieve in this event anyway. Like you say, he should be running a bit, by his name and how good he is, he should be running a bit deeper. But it is a tough score, this one.
Sorry, guys. I recognise there's a conversation going on in the chat box, which is pretty much joining in what we've been talking about. So I've been so busy chatting to Dave and almost ignoring the game, but the game's kind of speaking for itself at the moment. But I'll try and catch up with the comments as well. But thanks for joining in.
Yeah, fire us any questions. We're happy to answer and see what we can give a bit of an opinion on it. Or
Yeah.
So fire away, peeps. We're just about to watch Shaun possibly go 6-3 up. Just needs to cue this in, really. Doesn't need to do anything with the white. Naturally will leave himself an angle on the last one on the bottom rail, basically. And so he just needs to make the pot, stay still, cued it well. Lovely shot. A bit too thin, but he should be okay.
Doc on suggesting that please explain timing. I think I mentioned timing of the break, timing of any shot really, but he's specifically talking about the break. He said the pack is stationary, you hit a cue ball, it impacts the pack, no timing required.
I beg to differ.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree with that anymore.
Timing. Well, if that was the case, if a bodybuilder or anyone with a bigger structure or anything like that would allegedly have the best break of anyone.
Yeah.
Which doesn't work. You have people like Liam Dunster's a small guy, Liam White's tiny, but they'll break and they'll pop 4, 5, 6, 7 balls off the break.
I mean, a golf ball's stationary. You still have to time that when you hit it with a club. I mean, it's about generating power through the cue ball, but it's also about hitting a sweet spot on the pack.
Definitely.
But it's very much about how you hit the cue ball as well.
As a pool player, when you break, as silly as it sounds, as soon as you hit the ball, you know whether you've caught them right or not. Sometimes you'll break, you'll hit the wire, and you'll think, oh God, I've not caught them well at all. But instantly you'll know just by the feel, the reaction, and a lot of that is down based on timing.
Yeah.
Anyone can just get down and lever a ball, but it doesn't tend to work. If you catch them wrong, you'll jump the white off the table. Now Shaun's only 5 frames away from another win, but at this point now he's. I think a couple of seasons ago, when Shaun was getting results like this, everyone was like, "Wow, that's a great win for you, mate." But now he's got to the stage and earned the right of, well, no, this is expected. This guy's here.
Yeah.
He's here to win. He's not here to make the numbers up.
I think Plymouth Paul explains it well. He says, when playing through a ball, the stroke accelerates and then decelerates. Timing is the maximum acceleration as it impacts the cue ball, and that's a really good point.
Yeah.
If you think of the break, from the start of the break to the end of the break, there's a point of maximum acceleration before you start reaching the kind of end of your and before it decelerates, and it's just hitting it at that sweet spot. The same as when you time a golf ball and you hit it in the sweet spot of the club. And you know, like, I mean, I'm no good golfer, but I've played a bit, and you know when you've hit a good ball because you barely hear the ball go.
Yeah, it's just a smooth transition, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just gone. And it's the same, like you say, with the timing and stuff like that. You'll feel the reaction. It's like playing a screw shot. Say if you've got to screw the whole length of the table, sometimes you can lever it as hard as you can and the white goes nowhere just because you've timed it completely terribly.
Yeah.
But other times you'll try and soft screw it, but you'll catch it that sweet that you'll end up screwing back half the length of the table just because you've caught it so well. And that's all based down on the timing and everything like that. So.
I like Doggon's point there as well. He said Gillespie is good, but it's his off-table effect. I think he means his kind of image, his persona. People make errors against him. I think in some ways, because he's quite an intimidating guy to look at, isn't he? He's a big guy. I mean, he's a lovely bloke, but when you look at him, you know, he's kind of got the tattoos up his arms. He's a big guy, and he's
he wants to kill you. He wants to win, doesn't he? And again, that's another thing you can't really teach. You could be best friends with someone. You could play your best mate on the table, and you'll end up chatting away all day, and you'll miss balls because you're not concentrating. Whereas he will get on and he'll play his best friend, but for that 2 hours, he's his enemy, and then he'll be best friends with him afterwards. And Chris seems to be flowing a bit better now. He's took these out really well. He's took them out lovely. Shaun taps his knee with appreciation. He looks a bit more happier now. 6-4.
I kind of, Paul Hall Junkie says, isn't the break just luck? You can hit them perfectly and come up dry, and you can break badly and get a ball and dish them up. To an extent, yes. Obviously, there's an element of luck in a break because you need to. I mean, you need to get everything moving and give yourself the best opportunity to make a ball. But I think there's a lot of skill in it as well, and it comes down to, again, we talk about the timing and just getting that bomb burst effect whereby you're shifting everything, just moving everything around the table, just to try and give yourself the best chance to find a pocket. I'll continue that in just 1 second. Now, if you look, for example, at Chinese pool,
Right.
And I know the balls are set differently. I think the black spot's in a different place. I was talking to Gareth Potts about it last event. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I think whereas the black ball's in a direct line between middle and corner and middle and corner.
Yeah.
The pack's higher, so I think the black spot's on what would be the front spot.
Right. Okay.
So when they break, they use a softer break, which opens up all the balls and almost guarantees one of the wing balls into middle bag. And that's why you see there is that consistency of break whereby they can just run rack after rack after rack because they're almost guaranteeing themselves a ball on the break. And no one's really kind of ever mastered that on an April table. I mean, probably the best proponents of a break are Jack Whelan and Tom, and you know, people like Marshy and there's a few others up there as well. I mean, Goobs has got a great break.
Yeah, but even the ones that hit the ball hard, there's still a skill. They've still mastered the controlling the white ball, stopping the white ball in the middle of the table. Just because people might think, oh, okay, you just hit it, you get a bit of luck. That is true as well. But at the same time, that if you can control the white ball, I mean, some people just lever it and they'll jump the white off the table. Yeah. They'll, you know what I mean, lose control of the white. But to control it is an art.
Well, I can tell you, I mean, when Tom went to play Jack Whelan, he went on the match table. This is King of the Hill. He went on the match table for an hour before the game, and all he did was break.
Yeah,
that's all he did for an hour. I mean, you know, doesn't that get boring at some point? But you know, it's no fluke that his break is so consistent, and he times it so well, and the cue ball just does exactly the same thing every time, and it's not. He's not the luckiest player on the break. He isn't the one who times it the best. Well, he is the one that times it the best, but it's just through practice. And he generates that power because he practices that break all the time. And I think that's one of the factors that people overlook a little bit is practicing the break. There's not that many, well, probably club players never do it.
No,
you'd hope that professional players do practice it fairly often. I remember what surprised me, I mean, Craig Marshy missed event 1 last year, but he turned up to event 2, and he said he'd never used the shark rack. Like, to turn up to an event using a key piece of equipment, and he'd never practiced with it. Like, you know, for the sake of buying one for £8 or whatever they were, and just putting it on the table and hitting a few breaks with it.
It's going to help.
Whereas Phil Harrison, we mentioned about him being a consummate professional, he'd bought a shark rack and he'd had it at home and he was practicing with it. Yeah. And it was no surprise that he was breaking well with it.
Well, there must be a way of mastering it somewhere down the line. Someone's going to learn a way, because if they're constantly in the same place now with a shark rack, all the balls touching with a triangle, like they could have been slanted a little bit either way, or the height up and down, or all the balls, some balls loose, but with the shark rack, it's the same every time. Right, back to Shaun again. Took out another nice finish there. 7-4 up, 4 away from the victory. Does look like the better player at the moment. But you can never write off Mr. Melling.
It's gone dry.
A couple of dry breaks at the moment so far. I think that's the...
I think straight away I saw a little shake of the head from Chris, and you can see that wry look on his face. If we can get a bit of an overhead of the table, maybe it's... Yeah, I think it's just a bit of a rueful look, because when he's left the table, it's been, you know, a bit easier, and there's this cluster of balls over on the left-hand side.
So he's got a shot here anyway. He can drop the one in the middle to the middle right, and then he's got the one to the middle left to nudge the balls out, really. So, yeah, so it's not the worst. If he can get to the side rail first and then kiss the red full in the face, then he should
be fine. Yeah, one good shot. It's going to open the frame.
He's played it well.
Yeah,
so
played that really well.
So now he's just not. He should be fine from here on in, really. There's a nice little gap between the red and the black for the yellow, and if he lands on that, obviously it's just 3 drop-ins then after then. So these next 2 shots are going to be the key. And again,
he's decided to kick in there, and it just did it?
No. He's left a shot though. He's got away with that. I think this one in the bottom right still goes.
Yeah. So you saw him stun that off the side row. He was expecting the side to kick in, and that cue ball to come a little bit lower, but didn't react as he expected it to. But as you say, got away with one. Bit of trouble now, though.
Yeah, he still doesn't look at his best, does he?
No.
Still struggling.
This is a bit smelly now. He's landed fairly straight, and he's on the cushion. It's difficult to see. Difficult to see how he can manufacture something here.
Goes in the, no, I think he's on nothing. Unless he can play it off the red, possibly. I don't think he can see enough to cut it in the middle. So
no, he's looking at playing it off the red.
Again, he's so quick at just getting down and playing these shots. He doesn't even...
What a shot.
What a shot.
Oh, it's so unlucky again.
But again, he keeps losing the white. He keeps chasing. He's pulling out. Eventually, it's going to catch up with you.
Yeah.
And he's looking to try and pot this. He's covered off 2 cushions. Yellow inside, the reds off the cushion, off the reds. And this will make Facebook later if he gets this.
I mean, most players are thinking, how do I hit that yellow?
Yeah, it's very true.
And Chris is thinking, how do I pot that yellow? I mean, I can't even fathom what he does sometimes. I mean, I can see exactly what he's looking at, but I mean, to even consider it is just quite obscene.
He must have this way of working it out, because he always puts his cues and he measures them from the middle bag all the time. So he must have his own little...
I think it comes from American ball. Obviously, you've got the diamonds, haven't you?
Yeah,
so
but this game's completely different. But he seems every time, if you watch him, he always tries to measure it from the middle bag. And again, it's another good hit. He's so good with his angles. He's a bit unfortunate to put it stone dead on the bottom rail.
Yeah.
So he's give Shaun another free hit of these. And to be honest, if he nicks this and goes 8-4, I can't see him losing from here, really.
No.
I mean, Chris is fantastic and he can reel him off, but at the moment, it doesn't seem like he's going to be. He's not really reeling them off, is he? He's creating a lot of problems for himself. He doesn't look happy. A problem with the table earlier that he wasn't happy with, so. Again, with the ball being tied to the bottom rail here, he's just got a free hit of these, which is just what he needs, really, with a 3-frame lead to make it 4, and it's a free go.
I mean, the thing is, for Shaun, there's just no pressure on him, is there? He's not been put under any pressure on any of his clearances. He's just kind of sat back and waited for almost the inevitable mistake, and then done what he needs to do.
Well, the first couple of frames, Chris pulled off 2.
Oh,
there we are.
Wow. Just as we were picking him up.
But here we go. He doesn't. Again, this is what we're saying about it was a free hit, really. So, I mean, Chris is going to still have to do something remarkable here to either a long double.
And you can see him measuring this from the. I mean, what relevance has that corner bag got to this?
Again,
the angle of this shot. I just don't.
It goes from the pockets.
I know.
So I don't know what that is, but I mean, he's looking to come off the side rail and then just try and pot it.
I must remember to ask him because.
Yeah, but look, this is the levelling out, which is. I mean, this one's pretty straightforward, you think, because he's probably looking at the central point to go in off in a funny sort of way.
But he's not. He's not.
And now
he's not looking at the cushion here, is he?
No.
He's looking at the far edge of the table.
Yeah.
I mean, I noticed that. I think I've spoken to him about this before as well. They look at somewhere. Look at that! Ridiculous.
Fantastic.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. He's so good at it. That's the.
Just. I mean, there's no luck involved in that shot.
No.
I mean, and yeah, as I was saying, they pick a point.
He does, yeah. I don't know what he's
literally, I can't remember what he said, but he's not picking a point on the cushion. He's picking a point. I think it's almost beyond the table.
Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, but he's played that with so much side as well. So I mean, he's played that so well. I mean, most people, I mean myself included, I would have just played that plain ball, being happy to get it over the bag, really. But he's played it with
but playing the side is helping.
So he's played the pot clearly with the side, because otherwise you wouldn't have put the side on it. You're making the escape harder, aren't you, playing it with side?
Yeah.
So it's a phenomenal shot. And that could be the turning point, really. That was a big chance to have a 4-frame lead.
Yeah.
And now it's down to 2, isn't it? 7-5, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. I need
but
to...
here, look, I mean, he played side on it. So that's what's amazing. The pace he's played it at, the side. He's
as you say, most people will play it plain ball because it's just as simple. Find the halfway point between the two balls.
Yep.
But in playing it that way, you're less likely to pot it because you're more likely to come up and hit the face of the cue ball, i.e. on the line from the cushion.
Correct.
But playing it lower with the side, it's not only gives himself a better chance at finding the angle, it also helps the black ball going because the black ball's spinning in the right direction as it approaches the pocket. So,
correct, yeah. Definitely.
I mean, that's why it's just so brilliant.
That's phenomenal. Like you say, he deserved everything he got from that. I mean, Shaun had the opportunity, made a very uncharacteristic mistake, especially the way the match has been going the last few frames. It looked like he was about to run away with it, and now that could be the changing point.
Robin Cripps says it's called the mirror system. Maybe you could shed some light on it. I am gonna, next time I get in the interview room with Chris, I am gonna ask him about it. I have spoken to him about it before, but I can't really remember the conversation. So I'd be interested in what Robin thinks of that.
No, this is the tables are playing well. It's always nice when you can trust tables. I mean, you travel around the country now, and there's some monster clubs. I mean, my local Spots and Stripes, absolute phenomenal tables. Nigel Smith, the owner, looks after them immaculately. Like, so it's always nice to come from one club, and you're then getting the same sort of standard at another event, rather than chopping and changing, playing on slow tables to this, to that, to the other. If you can get looked after at home, as they say, and then come to an event and you feel at home, the feel of the table, it's always nice.
So this will test Shaun's character now. We mentioned about him having this ability to be able to put the negativity behind him, but he will know that he should have won that last frame. He's missed a big ball in the middle, and you know, it was, you can only really say it was a half chance for Chris, but it's a half chance he shouldn't have really had.
This is true, and Shaun now he's made an error there.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, the swing, the pendulum's gone the other way. All of a sudden, Chris didn't want to be there and looked like being 4 frames down.
Yep.
And now he's within 2, and Shaun's the one that's making a couple of, not errors just yet, but just lost the white the last couple of shots.
Yeah, this is tricky now. He's hampered over the black, so almost Phil.
I don't know if he'll just take his medicine here, really, and top this through and then play the other yellow into the middle, possibly.
Middle, yeah. I think that's all he has.
Yeah, I think that's... I mean, it's still not easy. And it's definitely not easy now. Big shot this, I think, in the game.
Great shot.
He's played it well as he found the gap.
Yep, he's fine.
He's found the gap, and that will be
I
fine.
think I say he's fine. Yeah, he can get past that red.
Yeah, if you could just drop this one in, and then take the one to the top left, and then just leave a nice little angle on the other one just to drop in and land in the gap. Just follow the line down in between the two reds and take a long black, I think. So again, you just have to take a couple more seconds here. Just compose yourself of the way the last couple of, well, the last frame's gone. The black, I'm guessing, must go into the opposite corner as well.
So Robin's saying he effectively uses the table and the cue to measure how far the ball is from the cushion, and then pulls the cue out to the same distance to give himself an imaginary spot to aim at, which is why he's looking off the edge of the table. And that's pretty much what I was, I say, the conversation I had with Chris was so long ago. It was a good few years ago, because I'd watched him at an exhibition, and he kicks like nobody else. And
Yeah.
as you say, he's using, and I'm pretty sure that imaginary spot is off the edge of the table.
Well, whatever it is or wherever it is, it
Yeah.
works a treat.
Yeah.
See here, I'm guessing that the black goes into the bottom right. Always played. Oh,
Played it from
a
the middle.
good shot. Yeah. I was guessing he was going a different route because I couldn't see why he would have gone the way he did
Yeah.
with playing the black into this bag here. So, but he's again showed his composure.
Yep.
A couple of loose shots, not bad shots, but loose. But he's got his frame lead back. A smile, happy guy there.
Yeah, that really was a key frame, wasn't it? And as we said, just showed his class and composure. Could easily have made a mistake there, and if Chris pounces there and pulls back within one, then there's some real pressure on. He had to keep that distance.
I think he looks in the zone now, though. He looks. I mean, a few frames ago, he didn't look happy at all. He was chatting, laughing, and joking, and not happy at all. But he does seem a bit more zoned in now. Maybe that last clearance and a mistake from Shaun kind of inspired him a little bit to think, right, this game's still here. So, but that was a very telling blow, that one, because if he got it within one, I think he possibly would have gone favourite then, because Shaun would have still been festering on the frame that you give away.
Yeah, line of players in the background. The two Irishmen to the right of the camera. It's Carlo Donahue on the right in the red shirt, talking to Declan Brennan, who's just doing a bit of excavating of his nasal passages.
Declan played well, didn't he? The last event winner.
Yeah.
There's young Shane.
Yep.
And Harjeet, another class actor.
Yeah, Harjeet Singh. They'll know each other quite well, won't they? Both from the Bristol area.
Yeah, they're all from the same neck of the woods. And if this red goes to the middle, where the yellow is on the right-hand side, again, he's got another great opportunity here to open a 4-frame lead. I think he'd want... Yeah, I think he'd just take this red to the corner and then drop down on the bottom too. And then even if it doesn't go, you're going to have options to just nestle inside or come off the side rail and just nudge a ball out, whether you hit the red or the yellow. You'll still have a shot. So, because you'll have the two savers in the middle of the table, which will help him massively. So. So I'm guessing it goes. Because I couldn't see why he would be getting rid of his savers if it didn't. Yeah, from that camera angle it does look like there's a bit of a gap. So he'll just be dropping this in, leaving himself top it for a little bit, just to leave an angle on this one to drop again. Drop really. He just needs to keep it very simple. Talk this one through. I'm guessing if the bottom one goes, he's 9-5. If it doesn't go past, then he'll have to take the top one first and then screw in behind. He's hit the wrong ball. Error in judgment. This is a chance he must take here.
Just for people's information, I understand there's a couple of people getting their knickers in a twist about gambling on the event, because I mentioned earlier that Adam Penwell was running a book. That was in retaliation for Adam Penwell earlier on telling people to send me selfies of themselves. Adam Penwell, I can confirm, is not running a book on the event. So you can stop sending messages to people and telling that there's a bookmaker going on, because there really isn't. So I apologise for any confusion. We'll move on with the rest of the game.
Chris has had a bit of luck there. I think he's due a little bit after all the shots he's pulled out. He's just dragged this one. Oh my God, has he had a kick there or not? I'm guessing it doesn't look happy. We might get a replay of that maybe, I'm not sure.
Missed it.
But yeah, I don't know if it kicked or not. He seemed to have to drag it with a little bit aside, so maybe have just kicked and straightened up a little bit, I'm guessing, by his reaction. He doesn't look like he's just upset that he's just missed it, so. And again now another opportunity for Shaun. If he doesn't take this one, I think he'll kick himself. I mean, don't get me wrong, the red's a bit tricky, a bit awkward. It may go off the yellow, or it may go clean now. It's a strange shot that is. He had so much control of the table, and now he's just give Chris a chance at a double, really. He's picking his point again here, as we were talking about earlier. And he's missed it. So, is it going to be third time lucky for Shaun? This is probably the worst frame he's played in the match so far. And by some bit ironic that he may win it. This could be the bit of adrenaline going on here with Shaun. I think he can maybe able to see the winning line. Knows this is a big frame now, especially after Christmas and so many opportunities. So this one goes clean. He should be okay. Yep, and it should be 9-5 now, really. And it is. Coolly slotted home, and that will settle him down a little bit. He's losing the white a little bit now, but it has been, what's that, 14 frames now, so you will expect it's getting late, so you will expect a little bit.
number 15, Chris Melling to break, 9 frames to 5. Time running.
Another really good clearance.
Well, he'd probably laugh after this, because after smashing the life out of every break for the last hour, he's tapped him and potted 2 and left him. I think that's what they're joking about now, really. He's literally played the tap break to slow it down and had the best break of the whole of his evening, of his match. This is what we said about timing, though.
Yeah.
He hit him as soft as anything, but timed it well and potted 2 balls. So 9-6, Shaun 2.
Shaun to break the next one, but if he goes dry, then well, Chris isn't out of this yet, is he?
No, he needs to make a move now.
Yeah,
He needs to make his move now. This again, I know it sounds really silly. This is a massive frame, really. Oh, I didn't know John McAllister was playing Liam Dunster.
yeah.
God, Jez Graham's pulled that back against Chris Day as well, wasn't he? He was quite a way up in that match.
Yep, yep. I know that Liam was 3-0 up, I think, wasn't he, against John? Yeah, he was definitely 3-0 up. So if those are the only 3 games that are currently running, there must be some...
I see John Rowe in the watching this game, so he must have scraped his one in the end.
Yeah, he won 11-1, so he's dropped 1 frame. He's currently 22-1.
It's not bad.
What's that for a batting average?
That's not bad at all.
That's a good batting average, that. It's, yeah.
Right, Shaun will just want a ball here. He'll want a... he'll obviously ideally want them to split like a dream, but he'll be happy with just a ball and a little bit of carnage, because I think then he'll be happy to just be at the table. You don't want Chris to get a bit of momentum and start snowballing a little bit now. He's got a ball, he's got 2, and now what's he got on? Not ideal.
No.
I think he's okay. I think the yellow may cut in the middle.
Yeah, I think it does.
If it doesn't, he's going to have a thin snip on one of the other 2. The one on the left-hand side ain't a bad shot really, because won't be Chinese or awkward queuing.
Barry Lynn beat Stefan Rosidi at 11-10. Shane Thompson won his game 11-2 against Greg Dixon. Jamie Bennett beat Carl Donahue 11-4. Craig Marsh beat Sam Birch, we knew that one 11-6. Declan Brennan, he's had an easy ride so far. He had a forfeit against Paul Kenny. So he beat Jamie Mountle 11-0.
11-0?
Yeah, in his first round game. And then he played, he had a forfeit against Paul Kelly. So
he must have seen him play the first round and thought, I don't want none of that.
So he's through to winners 2 without dropping a frame.
See what Chris is going to do here. He's looking at possibly a skill shot, cutting the red to the bottom left as we look at it, and smashing them out. He doesn't have a lot on. Shaun's a very big favourite in this frame by the looks of it. I think that's a kind of I'm in a lot of trouble shot.
Yeah.
And now he's left Shaun with a golden opportunity to get on the hill. Again, it's not clear cut, it's not easy. He's got a couple of positional shots to play. He's got a tricky plant down here. So it's not a gimme, but again, Shaun's played so well so far that you'd expect him to give these a good go, if not get them. I might have to invest in a glove if it improves your game like this. If it bounces, he's absolutely perfect to play the plant and get his yellow out. So I think Chris will find that was a bit fortunate, but like I say, when you play well and you've had a good match, you deserve a bit of ball run. I think it's. And there we are, and now he's
come out lovely.
There's a good chance here that he's going to be on the hill on 1 frame from victory. He's going to need Chris is going to need to beat him 5-0.
Yeah.
Would that surprise us?
Well,
maybe not the way the game's going, but
yeah, the way it's run so far, it would surprise me. I don't see any way back for him against Shaun. I think Shaun's just...
He's so solid, isn't he, Shaun?
Yeah.
He doesn't... I mean, he's only really made one really poor shot, and that was the one in the middle, which Chris nicked that frame, didn't he? But other than that, he hasn't really missed anything. He's lost the white a little bit a couple of times, but again, just the way he's playing, he's just pulled it out. He's got a choice here whether he can either, well, 3 choices. He can screw back and leave the long one down the rail here, which he's looking at. He can top it and come in the middle of the table, or he can play it with a tracer left and come behind the red. So you'll see what his favoured shot is here. He's decided to take the shot. It's an important frame, so that's probably what he was thinking. Ideally wanted to be a bit closer to that. I think I'd have been tempted to just come up the middle of the table, aim for the blue spot there.
Yeah.
But maybe he's feeling the adrenaline a little bit and just wanted to guarantee a shot.
Test the cue in here.
It is. I mean, the blacks, I don't know, we'll get a bit of picture. I mean, the black's not ideal.
Pretty much on the bulk line, so...
Yes, they leave the top this in.
Yeah, he can't just drop it, can he? He needs to either top it through to leave the black in the middle, or he needs to stun it back out. But he's queuing either way. He's queued it well, but he's overhit it.
Yes.
He's still okay.
Yeah, I think he's okay. He's just gonna. The thing is, this could be tricky. I mean, I don't think it is an in off the red, but just that little seed in your head could make you take your eye off the black.
And you can see him. You could see him loading it up with left hand side just to avoid that happening.
And if he was just playing a game of killer, he'd have got down and knocked this in straight away. But with the red being there, it's just put a little bit of seed of doubt, and now he's got the opposite bag.
Yeah, this is a lot thinner. And he's doing it because he knows if he played it the other way, putting so much left-hand side on it.
Oh, he's got away with murder.
It made it that much harder playing it with left-hand side, didn't it?
Definitely.
It's easy for the black to straighten up and miss it to the top cushion, to the near pocket.
Frame number 17, Chris Melling to break, trailing 10 frames to 6. Time running.
So he's tapped him again and made a ball again.
Made a ball again, yeah.
So he's completely changed his style.
I think I want to take yellows here, won't he? But I don't think he's got an opener, so he's forced into reds.
Definitely have to go reds, but I don't know if he's going to have to play a cannon at some point into the little cluster. I mean, the red next to the black goes to the corner, but the other red's going to be the issue. So you can just flick the black away from this now, but it's left it a bit thin. Black's going to be going safe. And it's...
Wow. The black's not gone safe, but he's pushed the other red safe.
Yeah. I think he's just chasing a bit. I mean, he's going to have he can drop this one in the middle and leave an angle on the red to go into the red and the black again, which I think he probably will do, knowing Chris. So he's going to go into it one more time. One for the road. And how does it come out this time? Again, chasing. He's going to have to deep screw this in the middle, I think, to hold for the red. I don't think he can top it and hold it, I don't think. Unless it doubles.
I think it does double, doesn't it?
He's played a great shot, but has he hold it enough?
Yeah, he's okay.
He's played that well.
Again, needs to time this. No. No good.
That probably sums up the match, really. There in the last 2-3 shots. He's gone into him a couple of times.
He'd done all the hard work, and he's missed the ball that you would expect to pop.
Well, it's hard, isn't it? I mean, he's such a class act, but if you just keep moving balls, you can't really claim that it's unlucky. He's gone into the same ball 3 times there.
Yeah.
Is it unfortunate if you've gone into it 3 times, or are you lucky to be on it in a funny sort of way?
Yeah.
It's whichever way you want to look at it. I mean, he knows that himself. He knows he's not played well. I mean, Shaun's took his chances, but Shaun hasn't had to do a lot, really. He's just picked up the pieces of the misses here and there from Chris and the bit of bad fortune with snookering himself and things. So
just run out of position there slightly.
So he's going to have to take this one.
Yeah, bottom corner.
And he'll have to stun it on and off the rail, I think, as well. So
still not.
He may take the one down the rail and just think, well, this is it. This is the frame that
I think so.
Shot.
I think that has to be the ball. It's, I mean, he's on it pretty well.
Yeah. That's the thing. Are you going to be on it better?
No.
Probably not. This is match ball if he decides to take it. I think if he gets this, he wins, doesn't he? So I can't blame him for taking it on. Is he going to get it?
Yeah, I mean, he'd already made up his mind that he wanted to play this shot, but the referee called 10 seconds, and he didn't want that countdown in his ear on a key shot. So quite rightly took his extension and just stepped away and composed himself. But he knows what shot he's playing, and he's nailed it.
And there we are, and that's the end of that one, I think.
Yeah, that was frame ball.
This is it. He just needs to make sure you cue this one. I mean, it's so easy to just kind of sort of stun it in a funny sort of way rather than just let the cue ball do the work. Yeah. So he just needs to make sure he can just kind of just catch this right, just to make sure the white travels up the table. And then it should be home and dry if he just gets this one correct. And he has kind of, I mean, the pace of the table's helped him there, really.
Yeah,
he didn't play it well.
Seemed to quit on it just slightly.
He didn't, so I mean, it was kind of a stabby shot, that one. He kind of,
betwixt and between now, isn't he? I think he has to take the one to top corner, doesn't he?
I think he'll go bottom left.
Yeah.
Because he could just top it on and off the rail. He doesn't need to do a lot with a white.
Sure.
Just drop it in, really. And you're going to, I mean, he had more angle than what we see. Yeah. So he's absolutely lovely. And looks like game, set, and match, barring a very, very big mishap. I think Chris will be a bit disappointed, really. He hasn't had the ball run, to be fair. But he's missed a few balls that he never really misses. So you've got to take it off to Shaun, punishing him. It's not easy to punish great players. So.
Really good. Great stuff. Professional from Shaun Storry. Did everything he needed to do. And Chris Melling, he'll be back tomorrow morning in the loser's side. Shaun shakes hands with the referee, Viv Rusco. We're going to have a few words with Shaun in the interview room in just a couple of moments. But for now, thanks very much for joining me on Commentary Day.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank you, Nick, for having me.
Mate. Thank you.
And I shall see everyone soon.
Yeah, best of luck with the rest of the tournament.
Cheers, matey.
See you soon.
Take care.
So I'm joined by Shaun Storry off the back of that good win against Chris. I mean, Chris always a formidable opponent. I mean, you know what he's capable of doing, but a lot of mistakes from him, and you did everything you needed to do.
Yeah, I think he had a lot of dry breaks, and he said at the end, like we just had a little talk, and he just said he couldn't get up for it. He's just been in China, hasn't he? I think, and I think he got back, I don't know, a day or two ago. And the time difference. I mean, he's always on a plane, isn't he? So
yeah. He never. I mean, I think Dave mentioned that early doors. He just didn't seem up for it. Even at the start of the game, he just seemed a bit despondent. And then he hit a little patch in the middle.
He went 2-0 up with two ridiculous finishes. I mean,
well,
they were ridiculous.
Yeah, they were.
First two visits to the table.
But when you started putting the pedal down, you know, I think then you went 4-2, didn't you? And he was just
5-2.
5-2, yeah. And he just didn't really look at home or at the races. But then there was a little point where I think, I can't remember, is that when you missed the ball in the middle?
I missed a really easy ball in the middle. I was just trying to pinch a bit of the pocket, and I hadn't decided what I was going to do after, and it was just kind of, I just thought, I'll drop this in, I'll see what angle I get. It's a terrible attitude. And I was,
and then he's obviously made the ridiculous shot along the top rail to pull back within two. But then I think he showed a lot of character then, because like you've dished the next frame and pulled back that three ahead. I mean, that was an easy point to, you know, if you make a mistake there and he jumps on it and he's back within one and the pressure's firmly back on your shoulders.
I mean, he had a dry break, gave me a chance. Well, I just go to the toilet and reset. You know, you're going to make mistakes. I thought I played like, you know, I hadn't really missed much up until then. So just think, well, it was a lapse, and you kind of forgive yourself, really. You can't beat yourself up when you're in the game. You've got to stay in the moment. So
I think, I mean, we've touched on it before when we've talked before. And I touched on it in commentary there, and something you just mentioned. It's about this mental attitude, and I mean, you use a lot of meditation, don't you? And maybe not meditation, but trying to get yourself in that right frame of mind. You're a very thoughtful person who tries to get himself right mentally for the game, and you're able to put those kind of things behind you.
Yeah, normally. I mean, I'm probably struggling more than I ever have with the game at the moment. You know, kind of fallen out of passion with it, just not hitting the levels I want to hit consistently, and it's hard to take when I'm always trying to chop and change something. I think eventually I've just decided because nothing's working, I'll just go back to my jabbier, normal cue action, the way I play naturally, and I just seem to be able to control the way. It might not look as pretty, and I try and look better, try and speed up and things like that, but it just seems to be just play naturally how it comes, and obviously it was good enough there, but I think a lot of that was dry breaks. But I took out some good finishes. I was happy with how I played. So
absolutely, yeah.
I thought it was a good standard, really, overall.
So when you say you're struggling a bit, like, I mean, are you setting your expectations too high, perhaps, or are you just? I mean, we all want perfection, don't we? But
it's not perfection. It's not even winning matches that changes it. Because a few of my friends, I talk to them and I say, look, you know, really, for some reason, it just feels like it's not my arm. And And they'll say, well, you get a couple of wins under your belt. I'm like, it's not even about the winning. It's about just feeling good, you know, feeling like you know where the cue ball's going, feeling like you're going to make the pot rather than sort of hoping it's going to go in, you know, which sort of was like, you know, I'm sort of getting certain shots and thinking, let's hope it goes in, and like it's going wide, and like I've had a bad run in a few tournaments, and you know, I'll be honest, I nearly just didn't pay the deposit to come in this event. I've already booked up for the year for hotels, and I kind of was very organised at the start of the year, and you know, me and Chris Day and Mason Penny all travelled together. So I said after the first event, I said, you know, maybe just didn't feel great, and I might just pull out. And then they said, well, what about all the hotels we booked? And I thought, so I paid my deposit for this at the last minute, and I thought we'll roll with it and see how it goes. But just enjoy it. It's quite nice to kind of take the pressure off, because not really expecting anything. I mean, it was a monster part of the draw playing Chris, and I think, well, whoever had that had the winner or the loser of the Liam Dunster and John McAllister match, which they're both on the main 2 stream tables, so you think that's just one of those sections of the draw where there was a bit of interest. So obviously it's a tough draw all over the place, but it just seemed to be a real like tough spot.
But come back tomorrow and do it all over again.
I'll have a few drinks for a change and see what happens.
Is that what it's going to be? Have a couple of beers,
yeah,
relax?
I think it does. It's a lot more relaxed schedule now, isn't it?
It is.
It's you know, slightly smaller than last year, so I think 11 o'clock start rather than 9. Or
perfect, eh?
We're all starting late, so we'll just enjoy the night.
And here we are. It's like it's 20 past 11. And it's like we're going to get a decent night's sleep as well.
We'll be starting to go live. No sleep. No about that. We'll just go and have some fun.
yeah. Shaun, best of luck with the rest of the event.
Thanks, Nick.
It's an absolute pleasure. We're, as Shaun just said, we're back with the action at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning, and that's going to be a loser side game. Don't think the game's been chosen yet, but that concludes the action for today. We'll see you again at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Good night for now.